Hey, welcome back to my channel, Duct Tape Mechanic. In this video, I'm going to show you the #1 and most notorious reason why your GE or Hotpoint electric dryer is not heating. So if you find this video to be helpful, make sure you subscribe to my channel for more DIY and tinkering videos. Alright, so here is the dryer in question. I know at the start I showed a GE dryer, but I want to reassure you that this Hotpoint and that GE at the start is exactly the same. They all have this notorious issue. If you don't believe me, take a look at that. On the Hotpoint dryer, there's this sticker that says GE appliances. They're the same brand, they're taken apart the same way, and they all have the same issues. Now, this is a notorious issue that these dryers have. But before we tackle it, I do want to make sure that you test your 240 volt outlet to make sure you're getting 240. Because if you're not, then that is not an issue related to the dryer. That is an electrical issue. Once you've verified you have 240 volts going to your Hotpoint or GE dryer, go ahead and unplug it from the outlet, and we're going to take it apart and resolve this issue, because this is the most notorious issue, and in my opinion should be the first thing you look at when you have an issue of no heat coming from these dryers. So let's get to that. Alright, so the no heat issue on these dryers basically stems from a wire that gets burnt up going into the heating element. And the way you get to it, you do have to take apart the dryer a little bit, but it's not that difficult. The first thing we need to do is take apart or take off the 2 screws that hold on the top console. So I'm just going to flip this thing around to give you a better viewing experience. Just 2 1/4-inch hex screws in the back that you need to take off first. Alright, so with those 2 screws removed, we're going to have to take off the console and flip it up. To do that, we're just going to grab it from both sides and push it towards the wall, and it should just pop up. Now, this may be a little bit difficult, so don't be afraid to push it really hard. So just grab it from here and just push towards this wall. There we go. And flip it up like that. Alright, so with that console flipped up, there's 2 screws that we need to undo as well. So there's one right here and one on the other side. And they're Phillips head screws. After that, we're going to go ahead and open up the door right here and take off the 2 screws that hold on the top. So 1 and 2. Once those 2 screws have been removed, we should be able to kind of pivot the top up and then just put it a little bit towards the back. We're not going to take it all off, so that's going to give us plenty of room to work here. After you've gotten the top kind of out of the way, there's just 2 hex screws that you need to remove, so 1 here and 1 here. And once you remove those 2 screws, this whole piece is kind of want to come out. So you do want to kind of keep one hand on it, but you should be able to just pull it back and up to get it off the little feet. And that should be enough to remove the door. But before you're able to pull it entirely out, you do want to disconnect the door switch. To do that, you just got to move this plastic piece aside and pull at this door switch until it gets disconnected. They can be a little bit of a pain. There we go. I had to use a flat blade to get it disconnected, but no big deal. Alright, so after that, all we need to do is take out the drum, I should say. But before we could do that, we do need to remove the belt from the idler pulley. And this is best demonstrated by this view right there. Hopefully you can see that. That white wheel right there is the idler. So basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to reach around here. You can see my hand right there. I'm going to pull it towards the right. So if I'm sitting in front of the dryer, this is to the right. And when I do that, that's going to release the tension of the belt, and then I can should be able to slide it. It's a little bit difficult to do with one hand, but then I should just be able to slide it right off the motor pulley as well. There we go. I was able to use this finger to get it off the motor pulley, which is right there. Right there. So then after that, the belt has been released, and we can just pull that drum right out of there. Then we're just going to grab the drum and pull it right out. Make sure it doesn't get caught anywhere. And once we've got the drum out, I want you to immediately go to this part right here, because I want to say 85% of these no heat issues is due to this. And that's why I didn't cover anything else in this video. But you see that purple wire going to the heating element? That's been burnt to a crisp. So what we're going to do, or luckily for us, there are replacement purple wire kits out there. I got this kit right here. This is the one I've been using for this issue. This is a very common issue. I fixed this multiple times. Now this kit runs around 15 bucks. It's from Ben's Appliances website, and I will link that in the video, and I'll also make it so it kind of pops up around now, so you can just click on it, order it. I believe it's 15 bucks and with $3 shipping, so 20 bucks for this repair. And they charge like 150. Some appliance companies charge like 150 to do a diagnostics. And oftentimes they misdiagnose this issue, because they don't want to dig this deep into it. But anyways, so we've got the replacement kit here, and all we're going to do now is remove this from the terminal and clean this terminal up. I like to use a little bit of rubbing alcohol and maybe some a little fine grade sandpaper to clean that terminal. This one doesn't look that bad. Sometimes they are horrible, but this one just looks like it burned off. Basically what happens is this terminal right here gets a loose connection, and over time it arcs and burns up the wire, so then there's no more 240 volts being sent to the heating element. So what I like to do is just take it off there, cut the terminal off right here, and then just kind of feed it through this piece right here, which holds the wire. And then we're going to go all the way back here and kind of snip it right there. And then I'll show you what's in the kit to make this repair. And it's really easy, and it can be done by pretty much anybody. I like to use this steel wool with a little bit of rubbing alcohol to clean up that terminal, because it is really important, because if it's got residue or buildup on it, you're probably going to have this sort of arcing, or I should say this sort of arcing followed by the wire burning again, and it'll just happen the first couple of times you use it. So you do want to make sure that terminal on the heating element is nice and clean. Alright, so here is the kit, and so let's just open it up and I'll show you how I do this repair. And it's worked for me, so should be no reason why it shouldn't work for you. But basically here is the wire, and here is the main star of the show, a ceramic wire nut. So we're going to be getting this wire, and I'm going to pretty much cut off one end of it and feed it through the dryer and tie it up, I want to say, where the rest of the wiring is, around right here, and connect it into the dryer system using that ceramic wire nut. Now, I can't stress the importance enough of using a ceramic wire nut. This is pretty much the only thing that's going to be designed to hold up against the heat in that thing. So if you use a regular one, you're probably going to melt the wire nut, and you're probably going to be back to square number one. So I cut the wire about 20 inches from one of the terminals, so it's about 20 inches long in length. Then I also stripped it back a little bit and go to the back of this dryer and just pop it out. It's just two little tabs you squeeze with your pliers. Instead of we're just going to be using the one with the kit. It's a little bit more flimsier, but we got to do what we got to do. All right, just going to attach this to the now clean heating element tab right here. And like so. And then we're just going to bring it along right here and then cut this one off right here and splice that wire as well. With the wires stripped back, we can just kind of twist them together and put them in this ceramic wire nut. Once that wire nut connection is further secured, I also just like to attach it to this wiring harness using some electrical tape as well. Now we're going to put this clip back in. So in order to do so, it's just going to be, you put this into that hole right there and it should just snap into place like that. What I did notice that sometimes on these clips, well, I've already put that one in place, but on the one on the replacement kit, you will sometimes have to get your screwdriver and just pry these tabs open a little bit, otherwise it won't quite sit in there. And it's in there now, and we're just going to secure it and zip tie the replacement wire to it. Alright, so this is what the repair looks like. We got a nice tight connection at the terminal of the heating element. We got the retaining clip on there, and then we got a nice connection with our ceramic wire nut, which is secured away, and it's not too floppy and it's also not too tight. And all we got to do is just put this dryer back. Before we put the drum back, it is important to note that this sort of spiky bearing piece right here is going to go into this hole right here in the back. So that's how you're going to know your drum is properly lined up. Alright, so now we're going to come down here and attach the belt through the idler pulley and onto our motor pulley. Alright, so it should look something like that. Alright, so once you've got the belt on, which is probably the hardest part of the whole deal here, all you need to do is put that door switch back on there. For the door, you do want to make sure that the slots at the bottom of the door go into these pegs or feet at the bottom of the dryer. Alright, so then after that we're just going to put the top on like so, and it should just snap into place. You want to make sure it's nice and level with the front right here. Then after that, we're just going to line up the holes right here and secure it with the Phillips screws that we took off in the first place. And then the last step, we're just going to go ahead and put the console on. So just come at it like this angle and just push it forward, and then use the 2 hex screws to secure it into place. Alright, so I got the dryer hooked up to my test station, and I started a test load. As you could tell by the duct tape back there flopping around, it is working. And I'm going to stick my hand down here, and oh yeah, it is hot. So this will probably solve between 85 to 90% of the issues with these GE/Hotpoint electric dryers. So if you found this video to be helpful, make sure you hit the thumbs up sign. Now I will say that if you found that the purple wire is burned up again after 2 or 3 weeks, or after a short period of time, that means you will have to replace the heating element assembly. Basically what happens is this terminal right here disintegrates pretty much, or gets smaller in size due to the arcing, and breaks off. So no matter how much purple wires you replace, it still remains a loose connection, and unfortunately this requires a replacement of the whole heating element assembly. It's just held in with a couple screws, and I will provide a link to that as well. So just in case if you are having this issue, if you use the same Ben's appliance website, what they'll do is they'll refund the original purple wire, and they'll send you another one, because you'll have to replace the purple wire once again, obviously if it's burnt up. But this is a little bit more of an expensive repair, but I recommend doing just the purple wire by itself first and seeing if it burns up again. Most of the time it'll be okay, but it is not out of the question for it to burn up again due to the terminal here being way too damaged. So you do want to inspect the terminal when you replace the purple wire, even when you do it the first time. That was just a disclaimer I have, because this is a known issue.